right, good evening and welcome, welcome, welcome. This is, of course, Chaos with Dom the Vibe, and tonight I have Miss Shae with us as a special guest. We are going to be talking about sinners, bloodlines, betrayal, and black magic, the truth behind the horror. So,
Hmm.
spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Sinners and that's going to be a problem for you, go ahead and tap out now because they are going to be no hold bars. We're going to talk about it in full. So, if you haven't seen it, guys, I'm sorry, this isn't the episode for you. Come back to it. It'll be uploaded and posted as I just want to make it fair for you because I hate when I log into social media and everything is there and I'm like blown. Like, damn it, I haven't even gotten the opportunity. So, again, if you have not seen the movie, just go ahead and go see the movie and come back. But I do want to ask, why haven't you seen it yet? It took me a minute too, and I'm usually a premiere night person, but we some weeks in now. So,
Yeah.
with that being said, before we even get into anything, I would love for you to actually introduce yourself and what you do, because she is the only person that I let read my energy. So, with that being said,
So my name is Shae. I am a seer. As most people know me, I am a tarot reader, but I have the gift of sight. And I've been doing this for about almost 10 years now. And it wasn't something I went looking for. It was something that came to me. Um, it started with me losing my grandmother and getting connected to my ancestors, and it just heightened my gifts. So I feel like I was called to do this, and it's just what I do. And I'm deep into the spirituality. I have a group on Facebook, and I've kind of dialed back a little bit over the years because of watchers and things of that nature. But I'm still that same girl, same reader, same spiritual, all the things.
yes, 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 absolutely. And guys, first and foremost, I want to do like a little disclaimer. Um, I'm a very spiritual person. I was raised Baptist. Grandfather was a pastor. The other one was a deacon, and I studied the Jehovah Witness. My ex-husband was Muslim. I studied with Islam, so I'm very versatile. And for me, I'm spiritual, right? So I always pose the question to people before. I don't doubt God, the entity, the universe, whatever you call the higher ups, okay, the higher power, right? For you, I don't doubt that, right? But before they came and they put that Bible in your hand, what were our ancestors doing, right? Before they gave us modern medicine, how were we healing ourselves, right?
Herbs.
So, and these people live to be hundreds of years. So before I go into my little spill, I am going to bring Mr. T.D. Hellum on, our co-host. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How y'all doing?
Well, well, thank you for joining us.
Good, good.
So, I don't want this to be offensive to anyone. Again, before there was Christianity and what we will discuss, what was there? Or did we just wake up one day and make it up, right? So the movie Sinners has had a lot of controversy surrounding, what people believe in. And one of the things that I noticed is there was this debate about the message within this movie. And I'm gonna say the unpopular thing, right? Because I said it on a post earlier. If you watch the movie and you didn't receive a message, cool, that's okay. That message wasn't for you, right? Harriet left a lot of people for a reason.
Mhm.
I'm gonna let y'all sit with that. So, with that being said, this wasn't your average just vampire flick. Although I was highly concerned at the fact that they didn't heal. But that's my own personal get up. Don't mind me, because I kept talking about that. I'm like, vampires heal. Why are they not healing? Like that was a problem for me. Please don't judge me. But with that being said, I will. I'm feeling feisty tonight. Like I'm ready to fight with my words, of course. We're gonna start with Mr. TD. Tell him. So when you watched this movie, what what did you get out of it?
For me, it's the style, the culture, of course, the action, and I just like I love the camaraderie. Okay, hold on. Before we even get into this, if you have not seen this
We
movie,
so
yeah. So I want to reiterate: if you haven't seen this movie, we're going to spoil this entire movie. So this is your warning. I'm gonna count down from 5. Once I hit 1, that's it. Point of no return. 5 and 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, you don't care. Here we go. So the camaraderie between the brothers, between Smoke and Stack, like I, I am a sucker for camaraderie between men because I feel it's so crucial in life. I feel bad for guys who don't have other guys that they actually share a brotherly bond with. Because I'm not gonna lie, the way, when when Stack had got turned, I'm gonna tell y'all something. If I was Smoke, I don't know. I don't know if I could have let my brother go without me. I'm gonna be honest.
right, right.
Now I'm
I,
also gonna say I probably would have been like, no, you get one of them girls to turn me because you ain't gonna be biting me on my neck. This homoerotic like shit. No.
okay. So all right. So with that being said, and I want you to give your perspective as well, Shay. But when you answer this question, you may also give that. With what happened in the movie, do you think Remick was just a vampire, or was he a symbol of something deeper? What did you see, Shay?
Definitely deeper. Definitely deeper. And the brothers to me were duality, you know. Um they showed the 7 sins in the movie, but he was definitely something way deeper. The
Oh,
music, everything tying into, yeah, way deeper.
okay. So I wanted
Baby chills, huh?
I wanted to wait, but let's jump into it. Let's jump into it, and I'm so excited because um the people don't understand the difference between hoodoo and voodoo and where it actually stemmed from and what it actually is, in its entirety versus what you said, Christianity and the 7 sins. So can we dig into that?
So when we get into that, you got to look at the different characters and how they played their role. For example, the first guy who they went and got, you would look at him as gluttony because he wanted to drink. He didn't even care about the money, you know. There was envy between uh, I forget. Okay, so but just looking back, you gotta kind of like look at the different characters and the roles that they played, right? And so that's how I got the sense out of that. Even with the girl turning him, she didn't want him to be, you know. And yeah, a lot of deep messages in the movie for sure.
So for me, with the music, we used to sing even during, slavery and hardship times, and it's always been somewhat like the soul of us, so to speak. Even people who can't sing, that's why we have karaoke. It makes you feel good, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Sammy started, so you already you could tell that it was a problem for his father that he played, but he knew I'm gonna do all my work and I'm allowed this one outing. I'm gonna go handle my business, and I'm gonna be back tomorrow morning for Sunday service, right? And he goes off, and like you say, he meets the guy. Um, I always call him the Pink Panther, and I can't tell y'all right now why. I call him the Pink Panther, okay? But yes, my man. He he he's a slut. He's a slush. A lush. That's what it is. A lush.
Mm-hmm.
He that liquor got him. It's not the money. It's the liquor. That's what's got him. That's his motivation. And then you had the Asians, because I don't want to be incorrect in what they were. I'm not really sure, but they had the two shops. They had the daughter was real serious, real mean. Like she was not with the shits. She was definitely not the fun one of the family. But they were fun. The husband used to be in some stuff back in the day. He definitely used to be out there with smoking stack, getting into some stuff, cutting up. But the wife, she had his back. She rolled with her husband. And then my girl Annie. Now this woman was deep,
Powerful.
yes, deeply rooted in her gift. Deeply rooted. She saw what was to come.
She was the source that they wanted.
So then we had the wife. Where's your husband, lady? You made it known that you was married, but now you pull up into this spot without your husband, enticing me. And then we had the light-skinned young lady who was the love who was the love of Stack's life, for all intents and purposes. And then you got these two brothers and these. So, what did y'all think about when the Indians came to warn them? And it's crazy how at the end when the movie played out, like they was really on their way. They was going to fuck over Smoking Stack from the jump. That's their MO. No matter how good you are, in the back of it, they are, their whole MO is to fuck you over, right?
Me personally, when the Indians came, the message was be careful what you allow in your house, and be careful being out late at night, because you notice they left before as the sun was going down.
Yeah. And what was with that song? Okay, now, CD, talk to me.
They definitely understood home field advantage. I tell you that much.
Okay, they was smart.
Cause like somebody else said, notice how the Indians showed up. It was like, hey, we're looking for it. It was like, yeah, we got that round here. Indians was like, all right, have the night you deserve. And they, like, when I say they were out, like somebody else said, baby, they might as well have left the movie and just come sit in the audience with all of us in the real world, because they was out of that movie after that.
They were. They really were. So I was like, damn, I was kind of hoping like y'all not gonna come back around, help, but it was the same night.
But they're native, so they're used to energies versus us. They're more in tune with things. So with that being said, they knew what it was and they was trying to help them, but they didn't want to take the help. So I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But in the end, they got their just reserves.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I do, I went off a little bit, but I want to get back to Sammy and that music. So Shae, talk to me about the relevance and significance of how music ties in to our energy, our ancestral portals.
Music is the only thing that can enter our bodies without permission because it is a vibration. Music is that powerful. And that's why different frequencies that we listen to can either lower or heighten your vibration. But yes, it is the soul in us that brings music alive.
So
It's the energy. It's when you hear Whitney Houston singing and you feel those goosebumps. Like it's the soul for sure.
So do you think it was just talent that he had, or was it a real calling that he had? Was he that powerful? Well, clearly he was that powerful, but was he always just destined to be that?
Well, you are the creator of your reality. So I think for the movie, because I've seen some things around where it was based on this guy who did sell his soul to the devil to be talented. So when you put it in that frame, in the movie context, I would think, yes, he did have a gift. And his gift could either bless him or curse him. And that was the duality with his dad being in the church and with his cousins being at the juke joint.
Right.
Yeah.
So where does the conflict between our natural ancestral gifts, so to speak, and Christianity come into play? And I want to, I know, I'm sorry, before you answer that, it's a little, I want you to explain what voodoo and hoodoo really is and what it means.
So starting with hoodoo, because the conflict is we're already spiritual. That's something that we naturally were. Hoodoo basically comes from the slavery incorporating the Bible and trying to do things so that massa won't know, right? Hoodoo, I feel, is different from voodoo because voodoo is more so a religion. Hoodoo, I feel like, is a birthright. Like, so it's something that we naturally are. We're born into our DNA versus those who want to actually practice the religion of voodoo or Christianity. But hoodoo is nature. It's, it's everything that it's more than just, reading the Bible. Those are words that are powerful and spells. However, hoodoo is incorporating, all the elements and cooking and, every single day we're doing hoodoo versus voodoo. It's, you got to do something on Monday for this little while. And, it's a different structure. I believe religion is a form of control. And that's just my thoughts on it.
Okay. So listen, I'm from Mississippi, and CD is down there in the South. What are your thoughts?
Talking to him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad.
You didn't hit a TV part. That's okay, Mr. Sally.
Why we can't see his face?
He being incognito tonight.
Because he was driving, number one.
Oh.
Safety first.
Yes, sir.
No, but I'm feeling you on how you said the music, how it's vibration. and how it, like you said, enters our bodies without us having to give it permission to enter. Like just being there listening to it. Like we've all been at parties or just, been in our cars with the radio going and a song comes on and the way it just stirs the emotions in us, whether it's something uplifting or something that, brings a tear to your eyes or something that motivates you, something that you actually feel yourself drawing strength from to be encouraged, like and it's not like it even has to be a song that was specifically designed or exclusively created for that. Like how many of us how many of us have gone to work and know we didn't want to go there that day and didn't want to be there, but we think about those bills and other things, and I mean that damn go get the money. Let's not pretend like that, like we ain't been using that as something to keep us going, man. Let's not pretend like that ain't been what it is. Because I promise you, I've been in that parking lot with that joint blasting.
So, do you think that the church intentionally um, made us suppress or fear our natural gifts? And I want everyone to answer. We'll start with Shay.
Oh, girl. Yes, absolutely. It's deeper. Listen, what most people don't even know, and I'm probably going off saying this, but most pastors are signed under Masons, and that's a brotherhood of control. So it's deeper. So yes, absolutely. Absolutely. A form of control. Because we can worship in the garden, we can worship at the beach. We don't have to be in this building, four walls. It's just, yeah, absolutely. Form of control. Church is not, it's not what it's supposed to be, in my opinion. I have a lot
Okay.
of questions. That's why I don't go. I'll get kicked out. So,
Yeah, I understand. Um, so I will say, like I said, I grew up in the church. Every day that there was church, I was in church. Um, and I've always had 1,000 questions, but I have 1,000 questions about those, Jehovah Witness. I didn't have 1,000, studying Islam, because for me, if you tell me that Jesus was born and that on that side of the world, um, and certain things transpired, I'm more prone to believe something that's still in its original format. Speaking of the Quran, um, because we know there are umpteen versions of the Bible, and not only that, a lot of things have been removed. Like they don't even call God is not his name. That is a title.
nope.
And sometimes I say it wrong, but if we want to be technical, it's Jehovah, Yahshua. There are so many other names. God is just a title. So for me,
It's for some who people work for.
I do believe that some religions can be a form of control
Mm-hmm.
based on the requirements,
Mm-hmm.
and the things that have transpired. And I had to learn and really get away, because I was like, I'm done. I'm like, what? But I had to still remember, although, these people are called by God, or, say they are called by God, they are still human. They were still born into sin, imperfect. So I had a real problem with how you getting 14-year-old girls in the church pregnant, but you standing on the pulpit. That didn't make sense to me. So I had a hard time, which is why I became spiritual. And I was like, okay, I understand. There's something deeper here, and it's not in this book right here. Like, yes, I read it. It's a form, and like you said, there are spells or whatever you want to call them, because songs. But I'm not going to even dig too deep into that. But yeah, it just depends on what you believe. So, Mr. TD, tell them,
Mhm.
how do you feel? Do you think that certain religions, or the church or Christianity, is a form of control?
It's all a form of control per se. Religion, government, um, education, and I understand. I understand that because realistically, most people can't function on their own, and so for those people, government, religion, education, and whatnot, those are tools that are actually beneficial to them to help them have some form of guidance in their life because most people honestly are not independent thinkers and they really cannot function on their own. They need something or someone to guide them through their lives.
Okay.
So I agree. It's definitely control, but I see it for what it is. It's because you just can't have all these people out here with no kind of guidance. Like you have to put them on some kind of path because you have to mitigate chaos.
So, do you all feel like the juke joint was a sanctuary? Um, or was it just a juke joint and they just had bad luck that night? Or was this a sanctuary for Black people, for our kind?
I feel it was never for them.
The juke joint?
Yeah, I feel it's just like, he was saying it was a form of control. They got the money and then the next day they were going to come and take it. They never really wanted or want us to do good. So,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
TV, sanctuary, or, or other.
Hmm. I'm gonna say sanctuary.
Okay.
I saw it as well. Okay, I saw it as a sanctuary for us to get away and to, have fun and enjoy ourselves. But I also saw it for, as the brothers said, they wanted to use that as a way to have financial support for themselves, and as well as their, as well as their people. So that's how I viewed it.
Okay. So, what do you guys think soul sucking looks like in real life? And who do you feel like is really draining us today? Let's take emotions out of that answer though. Who is really draining us today, right? And before you answer that, I posed the question because we saw Remnick just wanted Samuel. He wanted his gift. He wanted his ability to open up those the veil, so to speak, to bring those, from different planes together. So with that being said, if we take the movie and the message that some people have formed from that, and that they, certain demographics are trying to always steal and take from us, now take the question, what does soul sucking really look like, and who do you really think is the soul sucker right now in 2025? And let's start with TD.
You would come to me with this damn onion ring in my mouth. Come back to me.
Not an onion ring. Okay, so we see we are the big backs. That's my chat with my kids, the big back snacks. But okay, Shay, what do you feel?
I mean, the government is sucking everything from us, from everybody. I think when we really think about it, though, it's a lot deeper than what we're seeing or what's shown to us. And I feel it's something even more deeper than we don't even know that is taking so much from us on and I think that is also why artificial intelligence is being created, because it's creating an imbalance on Earth, and it's a lot more than we don't know. The things that we're just finding out now, it's like we're having to relearn things, and it's so much more that I think it's deeper than even the government. But that's just my thoughts.
Okay. So, Mr. Telemite, are you ready or?
Yeah, it was a good onion ring.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'd have brought my oxtails if I'd have known.
Now
Right.
we just not gonna just run all out like that. Not with the oxtails now. See, onion ring, that's a snack. You trying to bring a whole meal? Come on, man. Now, who do I think is really draining us? Honestly, I think we're draining ourselves. I think we're the vampires in our lives.
So, with that being said, um, I will answer the question, and I have a question within my statement. Um, I'm shocked at you tonight. Like lately, we just been on the same page, right? So, I feel like we are draining ourselves. I feel like we dim our own lights. I feel like we doubt our own power and significance. And because of what we have been traditionally taught and fed and sold every single day, we don't know how to embrace. And I say that because even with myself, I'm there's one subject, and I don't know why, but it's always at the end of it. Like I'm never wrong. I'm never wrong. I don't mean in life. I don't mean when it comes to men and their whereabouts and what they be doing. I'm never wrong. That is the one thing that it be like, hmm, I, hmm. And then I start to ask questions. And when I come to questions, I'm never unprepared. So I don't understand why humans, don't understand when a human starts asking questions. Most of us ain't bluffing, right? But I'm never wrong. But it's always in hindsight. But I noticed even then, I try to talk myself out of it and tell me I'm crazy. And I had a friend, and he was like, one day you're going to realize how powerful you are, and I cannot wait to see it. You keep doubting yourself. And that's with a lot of things in life. I be telling myself, like, nah, nah, nah. But for real, I can do it. I can do anything except jump out of a plane. Yeah, anything but jump out of a plane. But anywho, with that being said, the most popular question, I'm sorry, the most popular response would be
I don't
that,
know. I think you could jump out the plane too. You just need a little extra motivation, maybe a push or something. So I think
yeah,
you could do it.
see, my life got to be on the line. Like the plane got to be going down, and me jumping out with this parachute and you is the only way that I'm going to survive. Other than that, like, why is we signing up and paying all this money to go jump out of something and I could die? Y'all got me fucked up. I'm sorry. But that's another conversation. Like, no, seriously, I just thrill, seek all the adrenaline you want. Getting me on a roller coaster that man built, is enough. Okay, like man built this. You know how many people go to sleep on their job and fuck up every day? Can you imagine? Like we see, I'm about to see Final Destination on Saturday. Like we watched that movie coming up, and the real Final Destination, not any. Nah, we nah. But anywho, my question is, so again, the popular response would have been um, the other demographic, the clear people. The clear people are making it so that we can't achieve anything in life. They are the man is holding me down. I mean, people have been saying that for umpteen years. I can't do anything because the man is holding me down, keeping me back. Blah 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 blah. Right? And I'm no shade. I'm not saying that there aren't those in power that do not want to give us any of their power, right? Their power, it's not ours, their power, right? But with that being said, in conversations, we always go back to, oh, well, they took us from Africa and they brought us over here, they gave us religion, and they created the Willie Lynch. Willie Lynch set it up for generations to come. Cool. I do not disagree. That man, if you want to give him, if we're going to give him all this credit, we're going to call him a mastermind because that man had the power to create a system that transcended generation to generation to generation to generation and a mindset of I cannot do something because of what my ancestors came from. When do we take that power back? When do we acknowledge and say, yes, okay, Willie Lynch did this and generation, and we've been down and we've been out. Cool. All right. Now let's flip the script. Now what? Are we not powerful enough to do that?
It's only a trap if you don't realize that you're walking into it. But if you know that you're walking into a trap, you're already like several steps ahead. And I say that to say this. At times, I don't think it was so. I don't really think. I'm not gonna give Willie Lynch all that credit
Okay.
because I don't feel it's a system that he created. I believe the guy just really understood human nature because I'm tired of us as blacks in this country, as African Americans. I'm tired of us acting like these issues and these problems and these behaviors are solely isolated to us when it's not.
Okay.
I think it's more of you. I think it's more so the man just understood psychology because we've seen, these same patterns play out in whites in this country. So that's my biggest hang up about it. So as far as when do we become powerful, it's not when do we become powerful. It's when we accept the power, believe in our own power, and recognize it for what it is. Because there's so many things that we can do, and in all honesty, there's not anything holding us back as heavy as we think it is. What I've seen as far as holding back, I see a lot of people in their own way. Like I said, that's why I say we're the vampire. We're the soul drainers. We're draining our own energy ourselves because of doubt. And not just doubt, but just, you know, laziness, not wanting to do the work. Like we live in a time where we have more access and more tools than any of the generations before us. And yet, because a lot of us just don't want to spend the time to do the work, to learn, and to build, a lot of us are constantly behind the eight ball. And I hate to be that guy, but I'm sorry. Well, you know what? Take that back. I'm not sorry. A lot of this shit is on the people that suffering from it. Like, no one's forcing you to stay in these bad situations. The only reason you're there is because you gotten comfortable. And it's easier for you to deal with what you know than it is for you to take the chance and get out there into the unknown.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Can I say something?
Yes. Yes.
Because I agree with what he's saying as far as we're in our own way and accountability with that and all the things, right? I see myself as somebody different because I am an entrepreneur and I did leave corporate America. And the reason why I say the government is because the economy has in the last 4 or 5 years. So, that's where I say I feel like the drainage is, because it's not me. I know I have that go-getter mentalism. Other people don't, but I can see, and especially, if you have children and different things, you can see the difference in the economy. And it's because we have all these things, all this access. It's like they don't want us to know our true power. So yes, a lot of us are in our own way, but a lot of us are not. And I think the ones who are they're trying to stop us. So I definitely get that when you say accountability, because there is lazy people. There are people who don't want to, level up and things in life. But for the ones who have, and the ones who you're looking at numbers and you're looking at, what has increased over the years, the cost of living, the cost of food, it's like you have to work more. So are we in our own way, or are we tired? Or are we living in our lower chakras, which is more so focusing on survival and our savings and things, opposed to being in our spiritual, where we're supposed to be in our higher chakras? So I look at things from both sides, and they don't have to physically enslave us anymore because we're mentally enslaved now. A lot of people with social media and things of that nature, and they're wanting to live these lifestyles that are just facades. So yes, accountability is important, but they're squeezing us right now in this economy as well.
Okay.
So that's all.
So I want to swivel back to when I asked about the sanctuary and how they gathered, and we talked about the sins, so to speak, um, and the characters and the roles that they played. Right? Why do you think that joy and sexiness and pleasure were made to feel so sinful in Black culture? And I want to say we're still like that today, right? And I know, well, he dropped off for a second. He'll be back, guys. I know that, TD says that these things span over other cultures, so to speak. But it feels like in our culture, we are shaming each other even more than the outside does for what we do or may indulge in. And I want you guys to keep what I just said in mind for the hot seat coming up. So, with that being said, how do you feel about
I think it's a target on our culture. Section 8, just throwing it out there, was designed to watch and study the culture. And it's also designed to take the man out of the house. So now you got a woman who's now too masculine, who has to do everything. And now you have our man with free slavery in jail. So it's all a part of their system. But if you see it for what it is and how they're trying to divide, it's not just in our culture. They divide in different ways, politics and race, but that's what I feel like what they're doing as far as with the Black community.
it? So, I want to ask this question because I want to have time for the hot seat. Um, Smoke's journey is a metaphor for Black masculine healing and redemption and bloodline reclamation, right? So, do you think, in the end, what he went through, his final acts, one, do you think it was fair? Do you, do you think it was fair the way things played out? And yes, with that, explain why. But also, do you think in the end he was really redeemed? Because we are told, you thou shalt not kill. So he killed a lot of people, created a lot of mayhem in his life just based off the conversations that were had. And we are told that we must ask God for forgiveness before we die through Jesus. And if not, if you have not accepted him and asked for forgiveness, you will, of course, go to hell and burn eternally. So the very last act he committed was murder, regardless of the reasons why. It was murder, right? And there was no asking. And he also seemed to be a little skeptical of Annie's, beliefs and her ancestral ties. So, do you think in the end he actually ended up with Annie and their child in a better place, or the other?
Do I believe it was fair? Yes. I mean, eye for an eye. He killed, so he was killed. I do also believe, though, he was ready to go. He lost his brother. He lost his lady. He lost his baby. There was nothing really much more for him to live for. So I feel like that was just in his eyes as to how that played out.
Okay.
Now, did I believe he went to be with her? Who knows when you get to the other side what's waiting for you, you know?
That's true. We will never know. We will never know until it's too late. Um, Mr. Tellum, what do you feel?
I feel that it was fair under the circumstances. He went out. He went out doing what he felt he had to do, what was necessary. He made that. He made that sacrifice. And I like how you said earlier about you see his journey as that of masculine healing, because in being a man, in being masculine, part of that is accepting that there are things that you're gonna you're gonna be called to do, and under normal circumstances you would not want to do those things, but you understand that in that time, in that moment, it has to be done, and you're the one that has to do it because you're the only one at that moment who can do it.
I mean, I definitely understand. I'm going to be me and say, was it fair? Fuck no. I don't think he should have died. But I understood what you said about him not having nothing else to be on earth for. His brother would chose a different life. And even before they showed it, I knew that he wasn't going to be able to kill his brother. That was a sacrifice too deep. So because of that sacrifice, even though, Stack was his brother and he knew him in real life, in this afterlife, who is this Stack? And what have you unleashed upon to walk upon the world, especially with this young lady who is so influential over him? So, we definitely will never know. But I don't think that my baby should have died, but I understood he didn't want to walk the path with his brother. And at first you saw he was ready to go. They pulled him back, but after Annie, there would have been no life without Annie. Um, so a few things that you guys have said tonight ties into this hot topic moment, right? I'm going to take a little moment to ask you all, with it being, day two of the Diddy trial, how do you feel about the responses you are seeing on social media? And I made a long post this morning from, I will admit I had to ask, and I call my shorty little robot. I had to ask little robot to clean my thoughts up because y'all know I would have said it a totally different way. I mean, it still had my voice to it, but it definitely cleaned it up for you to understand the gist of it, right? So we talked about being judged and seen, and before I even begin this, let me just say a disclaimer. One, I don't victim shame. I am a survivor of domestic violence and sexual assault. Okay. Um, I very much think on all levels when I look at situations. So, with that being said, I will say that there are kinks that people do enjoy in their life that the world is not privy to. And should someone ask about them, they would deny, right? It would be embarrassing for the world to know. And I've seen a lot of different responses. And I said, this case is going to break a lot of ships up, friendships, relationships, Facebook ships, whatever ships, because of one's opinion on it. So, just like with Trump being voted for, people's opinions are, making or breaking situations. And like I said, with that being said, how do you all feel about what you are seeing across social media, people's thoughts?
I
They
don't
better
get
get
involved.
Cassie off the stand.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay. Go ahead, TD.
They better get. They, don't let Cassie talk no more. She gonna blow the whole case. We've heard more than enough from Cassie. We don't need to hear nothing else from Cassie. The, where the other witnesses at? Come on, cause no, she gonna blow the whole case. I say that because look, I accept that this dude is not a good dude. This is a bad dude. Like this is a bad dude, and he if he is responsible for the things that have come to light over the last few years, he needs to be put away. But Cassie, oh, we need some better witnesses because Cassie gonna blow this whole case. She's not making the strongest she's not bringing the strongest evidence to show that he needs to be put away and how dangerous he is as far as like to the public.
Okay. So that's what I was going to ask you. Is this in the court of law or the court of public opinion? And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I have not read the transcripts. Just I needed to be over with, and then I'll go through. But just from what I've seen on social media, he's not on trial for being a freak, so to speak. He's not on trial for domestic violence. So I see why people are wondering why this is the leading witness. But on the flip side of that, there are those who say this shows how he continuously intimidated someone and others over the course of years. Now, before we break that down, I'm going to give Shay an opportunity to speak.
So, me personally, I don't care about celebrities and the shit that they do because I really feel like they're all distractions. Same thing with it's all here to divide us and distract us and get you all caught up in it and you're focused on this, and I don't care about celebrities. I could care less. I do feel as if it's a major distraction because I'm into astrology. There's no retrogrades right now. There's a lot of things that's happening before we go into the we're having our what's next month, the solstice. So this is energy of manifestation energy. And what they're doing is they're pulling people's attention. First, it was, think about it. We just had the sinners, Easter, resurrection. What was that? Around equinox time. And then now we had Cinco de Mayo, Mother's Day, Nurses Week. And now the Diddy trial on the Scorpio full moon. They know how to keep people distracted with the BS. So that's just my take on it. I don't get involved with it. I could care less.
Listen, I respect that. For me,
Does nothing for me.
It's not even the celebrity thing, because at my opinion is always, when I was a child, I knew something was off with certain people. Like we all saw R. Kelly and Aaliyah. I remember watching and seeing the video of him and the little girl in the chair and on the bed. I remember Dave Chappelle doing the skit, fifth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth, the pen in the courtroom. I remember all of this. We ha ha, he keep go go ga ga. It was funny, right? Nobody did anything about it. They took this man to court and actually believed that it was his brother.
It's the industry.
Right? And he went on to become a menace and bring on a cult-like lifestyle. Right? And then we started a movement, and I know people be like, that's why victims don't come out. I know why victims don't come out. Trust and believe I know why victims don't come out, right? But again, I always say two things can be true about the same thing, right? Y'all let this man get away with murder until it was no longer beneficial for you. Sean Combs has been Sean Combs until it was no longer beneficial. I don't want to make this about race, though, because I really hate when people deflect. But let's be honest. They're the only people that's on trial. We still ain't got these lists. It's a lot of other demographics still walking around.
But it's a message. It's a message, because this man has been given everything. And it's all been taken away. You gained the world, but you lost your soul. It's a message in everything.
It is, absolutely. I absolutely believe that. So, TD, you took the mute off. I know you want to say something.
Oh, I thought you were going to ask me a question. That's why I was like, let me get ready.
I asked the question. I was giving my synopsis of that. But
Cool.
listen, like you said, there's a message in everything. Whether you watch the movie Sinners and you receive the message in that, it's completely up to you, right? No one can force anything upon you.
Mm-mm.
I hope and pray that you look around at the things that are going on in today's society and you just choose to do better in life, right? Choose to do better. And with that being said, any final words, guys? You want to tell them how they can get in contact with you and your services?
Okay, you can hit me up on Facebook. My name is Shae Bay, or you can hit me on Instagram as Respectfully Shae. But I want to say this: every day is a new opportunity to be a better version of yourself, even if it's by 1%. You're the main person, and main focus in your life is you, nobody else. And remember to be great, and that's it.
Absolutely, Mr. Tellum.
I don't have anything that I need y'all to come look at me for. I'm sorry, I ain't got no services for y'all, but I am going to say this. when I look at this whole thing with Diddy and that whole just how everything's played out with him, like from as far back as the mid to late '90s up until the court case, this is a perfect example of you have to be humble, and when you achieve success, especially on that level, you need mentors. You need guidance. You cannot just be out here ransacking the world doing whatever you feel is cool just because you have amassed so much power. No
Yeah.
one is above. No one is above the energy. I would say this, and people are not gonna like it, but I don't care. No one is above the energy of this universe and reality. The higher up you go and the more untouchable you believe you are, the harder you're gonna crash when the right people touch you and bring it to point. This guy should have had a mentor. And I find that funny because I said that a couple years ago when this all started out with the casting situation. And I remember somebody said he did have a mentor. The dude said it, and I was like, that's not a mentor, that's an accomplice.
Yeah.
Nigga was doing the dirt with him. But no, real talk though, seriously, because I see that like, okay, you know what? I'll tie it into sinners. It's that whole thing of you amass this power. And on one hand, it's like, yo, I got this, and this could be great. I know I got it. I got this power, okay, and I got it, ill-gotten gains and whatnot. But this can be a great thing for not just me, but the people that I care about. That's true. But you have to be grounded and you have to be humble and practical because you will easily let that power run to your head if you're not careful. And like I said, we're seeing this play out with this guy, and like we've seen play out with other celebrities and people of wealth and of high wealth and influence. And it's just like, man, y'all need some role models, man. I'm sorry.
He did. He definitely needed some role models. Definitely needed some role models. Um, but they said you make your bed, you must lay in it. So, guys, listen. I hope you enjoyed the conversations. I hope that it sparked more conversations for you to go out and have. Again, no opinion is universal. Everything in life is all about perspective and interpretation, which can be one and the same depending on how you look at it. So, with
Mhm.
that being said, I appreciate you guys for joining us tonight on Chaos with Dime the Vibe. Make sure you guys check into the official Vibe Network where you will find all of our shows: Chaos with Dime the Vibe, Unapologetically Raw, The Maven Report. There's mini series galore. It is a full media network for you guys to be entertained. So make sure you tune in, and we'll see you guys next week. We're out.
Bye.
Good night.
Y'all take care.